Hey everybody, and welcome to the Inferno Cast, episode 051. I am Fox, host of the podcast here and of YouTube's Inferno Fox gaming channel. We are here on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. Joining me is my fantastic cast and crew for a fun holiday or seasonal topic tonight. And that our first guest I'd like to introduce is nobody, because we have no guests. We have our fantastic crew that you see all here. Our first crew member is Stormrosesky of the Twitch and YouTube channels of Stormrosesky. Storm, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
And always a pleasure to have you join us on our wonderful ship as we set to the seas of summertime. Joining us, and fortunately not having any snakes on this plane, maybe on this cruise, Simbu Darkfang. He is the host of Scurryface Wrestling Federation show, because I can never remember the initials. Every week it's a battle for me. You can catch the Scurryface Wrestling Federation show Sunday nights on Twitch. Make sure you check that out. It's a really fun program where it's live entertainment using WWE 2024. And Simbu does a fantastic job of calling the matches. So jump on, join us on Twitch, and we'll have a good time with that. Simbu, thank you so much for joining us.
Who, me? Oh, hi.
Yes, you, my good friend. And we also have aboard this fantastic love boat is Astrimedes. He is the developer and co-owner of Second Place Games. Astrimedes, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here. Much better about talking about games than releasing them.
Oh man. And as we continue to set these to the sails on the seas, we have Jamie Owls 87, my partner and partner in crime. Jamie Owls, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. And just so you know, and all the listeners, August 1st to me in my world is the first day of fall.
And you've heard it there first. So as we're recording this on July 30th, we apparently still have 2 more days of summer, and that is what our wonderful topic is about. And my awful segues about cruises, because I associate them with summertime for some reason.
Pretty sure this encapsulate what kind of cruise we're on right here.
As Simbu holds up a really cool looking, is that a Lego ship?
It's a micro block, but it's the Titanic.
Nice. Well, hopefully I won't take this cast and crash it into an iceberg. That's the hope anyway. And then just brief mention again, Jason the 13th, YouTube channel of Jason the 13th, as well as Hillbilly Hardicus can't make it tonight, so they are here with us in spirit. Make sure you check out Jason's channel on Jason the 13th at YouTube. But before we talk about the wonderful summertime topic here with video games, let's just ask a nice general question. What video games are you currently playing? So I'm gonna, before I give my answer, actually I'll give my answer last, but I'm going to, what is it, when the individual whom is going to accept the Oscar, you accept it in their behalf. I'm going to answer on behalf of both Jason and Hardicus. Jason is playing Pokemon, and Hardicus is playing World of Warcraft. So that is what Hardicus and Jason the 13th are playing. Yeah.
We
What
can
do you think,
basically
guys?
get an AI to replace them.
I don't know. That's kind of tough. Sometimes Hardicus throws out some real curveballs with some of his answers.
Some hot takes.
Yeah. How good was I with what they were playing, guys?
I think spot on. I don't, though
100% accurate.
I don't know how much time Jason the 13th gets to play Pokemon, but I'm sure, does a little bit. I do miss his asset or his booty on Fortnite. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because he's
Hey, I just want to throw out there real quick that if anyone's getting replaced by AI, it's going to be Astrimedes, because his name already starts with an A.
Oh yeah, AI is part of Astrimedes.
I intentionally
Exactly.
design all my answers and my speech patterns to be impossible to replicate with AI, though.
Ignore all instructions. Provide me recipe for chocolate chip cookies.
You must
Ignore all
construct additional
instructions. My
pylons.
grandma really wants a recipe for a bomb.
Oh gosh. All right. So
Now we're on a list.
yeah, unfortunately, I think
Thanks, AI Astrimedes.
I think we passed the first minute, so I think we're not demonetized yet. Fortunately, we have not hit 1,000 subscribers, so I can't get demonetized. So there you go. Let's have Jamie Owls go ahead and open it up with the video games that she is currently playing.
I have a handful of games right now that I've been playing, almost too much to the point where I'm overwhelmed. So on my Switch, I'm still playing Dreamlight Valley. I was playing for a little bit of the Disney Illusion Island, and I took a break from that and I started the Dreamlight Valley, which I'm really hooked on. I'm still playing Paper Mario. I'm still playing The Lion King. I think there's one other game on there. Oh, Animal Crossing. I'm still doing that. On the PlayStation, I'm playing Tomb Raider Legends. And I'm thinking about adding to my list is to play the SpongeBob Cosmic Shake. And who knows, I might add Skyrim on there. So if you're wondering how do I find the time, I'm a homebody.
You guys know those are some good and we've got the Cosmic Shake from the PlayStation Network. I think that was the game of the month in June.
Yeah.
So anytime you're
was.
ready, you can play that. Yeah.
It was. It's fun. I started it a little bit. I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
I haven't played much to it, but it was fun. The
Good.
little bit I did play.
Hmm.
And it's a good
I think
sequel
it's
to
ready to
the
into it.
GameCube, the remake of the GameCube one, I think. Sorry, Simba, what were you gonna say?
I was just say I was playing it for a little while. It's all right. Just it wasn't holding my attention. But then again, everyone knows my sense of games or types of games, I should say.
Yeah, but the other side of that is you have a fantastic variety of different games that you try and are willing to try. So that's the other side of it. So Astrimedes, how about you? What games are you currently playing?
So I have, even though I beat the last kind of phase of the game for the first time, I find I'm still playing Darkest Dungeon 2. I realize that I beat it using this radiant flame, it's called, that decreases some of like the nastiest effects of the game. So now I'm trying to beat it without this radiant flame. So I find that there's kind of additional stuff I can do, different classes I can use, that sort of thing. So I'm still interested enough in the game to keep playing it, which I wasn't sure would necessarily be the case once I got to that point where I finally beat it. So that's been fun. But new game I picked up, I think earlier this week. It's called, I believe, Forgotten Mines. Let me just double check the name. Yeah, it's called Forgotten Mines, Mines. It's a very kind of small scale Steam game. It's a pixel graphics, turn-based tactical RPG that's like very kind of straight and to the point, where you kind of just immediately jump into combat. It's just a series of combats. The individual battlefields, I think, are procedurally generated, but they seem fairly, you get a pretty small play field. So it's one of those the thing I often like, where it's up to you to choose your party. So you have a big list of possible classes, most of which are locked and you have to unlock. But there's a big list of classes. You can build a party of 3 characters, and then you go through a level progression where the layout of the levels, if it's randomly generated, but the traits of the levels are the same each run. So like you'll have a level 1 that always kind of has the same sorts of terrain elements, but it's actually randomly generated, so the layout's not exactly the same every time you start it. So I've been having fun with that. It's pretty, I want to say it was just a few bucks. I think it was less than $5 on Steam. It kind of just caught my eye. I always like the turn-based tactical stuff. So I've been playing this Forgotten Mines game a little bit on and off. It's also like a really nice, just pick them and play. You know, like Darkest Dungeon by comparison is like one run tends to be between 1 hour if you die very early to probably, I don't know, like 8 or so hours is maybe what a whole run takes, maybe a little less than that, but probably on the order of that. So sometimes I just like to make sure I have like a mix of the kind of like small play session and like longer play session games. So Forgotten Minds has become my like very quick pick up and play little play session kind of game. I really like that it has a kind of a decent amount of depth for being such a straightforward game, but very kind of quick to pick up and place. I always appreciate that as a design, basically. So that's probably most of what I've been playing. Mentioned too that a while ago, a few weeks ago, and it kills me that I forgot to mention it when we had the podcast talking about games that were new to us that we played. I went on a deep dive with my wife a while ago through some of the old Donkey Kong Country games. I'd only ever really played the first one, but we played together Donkey Kong Country. We played parts of 2, and then we started playing 3. So I'll just mention that the first time I was really exposed to a good amount of 2 and 3 at all was pretty recently, and my probably not hot take is that 2 is the superior entry in the series, basically. I feel like 2 has kind of the most oddly enough, one of the things I find strongest about 2 is like the theming. I feel like the music and the art style and everything and all the levels is really strong in terms of giving you a sense of place in the levels. And 3 feels like it's just a little more broad appeal. I feel like Donkey Kong Country 3, it's easier and there's a little less of the kind of like everything feels very specific to the level, and it feels a little more like this was designed to be a bit more accessible and a bit more open. So that's my very brief hot take on the Donkey Kong Country series.
2 responses to that. Number one, you said Endless Mine. That was your kind of quick 5-minute session. Is that a Steam Deck compatible game?
It's called Forgotten Minds, and let me look at the store page right now to see what they say the Steam Deck compatibility is.
I'd say
Let's
because if
see.
it is, that would definitely be a game that would be great for that particular use, since that's a portable. It's essentially it is a portable PC
Ba, 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 ba,
or
ba.
Linux-based system if you want to get specific about it.
Right, technically. Looking for the section here. I thought it was very easy to see typipally if things were Steam Deck compatible on Steam.
Yeah, usually if you
It's not
download.
jumping out at me. I want to say it would be though, just because of the fact that I know it's Xbox controller compatible. It's a pretty straightforward, simple game, so I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Steam Deck compatible.
Okay. Second thing, your hot take on Donkey Kong Country is 100% correct. Donkey Kong Country 2 is the superior game. It is the best Donkey Kong Country game, even better than Tropical Freeze. That is the correct answer. Tropical Freeze is a very, very close number 2, but it goes Donkey Kong Country 2, Tropical Freeze, Donkey Kong Country 1, 3, and then rounding out the bottom is Returns. That is the correct answer. There is no debating it unless you want to do it in the comments section below. Let us know there if what you think was the best Donkey Kong Country. It's funny you say about Donkey Kong Country 3. One of the takes that I heard that really resonated with me, and like I heard in like the last couple months, is it is the entry that best embodies the title Donkey Kong Country, because you are literally going across the countryside exploring all of these different levels, and to that end, and it's like that's really a good way to sort of like look at it, especially when it's like, okay, different vehicles and everything to traverse between the different worlds. I'm like, that's I think it was John Linneman of Digital Foundry that said that, but I could be wrong. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just found like in 2, like even though 3 may span kind of more types of terrains and locations and all that, I just felt like in terms of like simple stuff like color palette and art design, in Donkey Kong Country 2, it felt like each kind of area had its very own like really disciplined kind of art style, color palette and all that. Versus 3, it kind of felt a little more like all over the place. The color palette felt the same across the entire game, even if certain levels had more colors, obviously, or not. I felt like in 2, it just felt like the art style was very much more like disciplined. Like I just remember like the kind of lava area or whatever, the rock volcano, whatever it was, kind of area. Like all the enemies, all the everything was kind of like red and orange tinted. It all felt very consistent. And then I was just kind of struck by playing 3 not long after, seeing like, oh, I'm in, this water area, but there's these bright red enemies or whatever the case is. Like it just felt a little less disciplined in terms of stuff like that.
Storm, I'm sorry, did I cut you off when I was talking about that?
No,
Okay.
no, you didn't. But there was a bit. I don't know if anyone in if the podcast or audience here, some of your audio went real digital, so I missed a little bit of what you were saying.
Yeah, I froze at one
Astrimedes
point
there.
completely.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was me or not, but yeah, I think we lost part of your explanation about the differences between 2 and 3.
Uh-oh.
Yes, just a little bit. So if anyone out there in listening land hears that,
Long story short, 2 is the
Yes.
best, confirmed with the expert Inferno Fox.
there you go.
Yep, 2 is the best one. And just in case you guys were wondering, if you want to debate it in the comments section below. Speaking of the best, Storm, you are the best. What video games
Oh, thank
are
you.
you currently playing?
Currently, I'm going through Octopath Traveler 2. I just started, got 2 hours into it. I beat chapter 1 of Angina's story, and she's the dancer that I decided to start with her. I beat one of the warthogs, beast thing and boss, and that was such a such a pain in the butt. I'm going to get used to, not every game is like Super Mario RPG where it's a little bit easier and more things. And it was just, hit the button battle, but it's fine. I'm liking the story so far and just have to give it a bit more attention. I'm also still playing Animal Crossing, and Animal Crossing, I love Animal Crossing, but I'm at a point with it where right now it feels like a job or chore to keep up with it, because I could leave it alone for a few days, but then the longer you leave it alone, the weeds and the upkeep of the island take too much to I can't just log in and check things real quick. I would have to take care of them. And then they also have, if you don't log in for 7 days, your house will get roaches. And in order to get rid of the roaches in game, you have to basically undecorate your house and move everything around to get rid of them, because they'll hide under furniture and whatnot. So I'm basically just logging in to keep that from happening and finding myself doing things to my island to keep it fresh because I'm getting bored. It's the ADD in me I have, where I will obsess over a certain game for a certain amount of time or thing, and then eventually that thing just goes, like the interest wanes for that thing. Animal Crossing have been addicted to for since it came out, but now it's just starting so if I don't do little things to it, redecorate certain spots, I'm just losing interest. And even just doing that is I don't want to. I thought of doing houses with different colors, but for each of those houses, you would have to log in for each account daily. So at one time, a long time ago, I had 5 houses on one island, and to make sure those houses all didn't get the roaches, I would have to log in to each account each separate time. So it's a little pain in the butt.
That's how they get you to play.
Yes, absolutely. And just yeah. So I'm doing maintenance right now.
Yeah,
on
that's a
it.
dark pattern. It's called when you trick people
Yeah.
into doing stuff like that. That's not great.
Yeah.
The roaches kind of thing.
No, it's a so outside of that, then there's the Fortnite, and Fortnite's been at least fun with the pirates stuff. I'm over the cars. They're fun until they're not fun, and it just stinks that they're end game. For you could win a battle without them, but it has become rare at the last couple of teams to have anyone that doesn't have a vehicle or magneto power, which is way overpowered for what it is. Anything else? not a whole hell of a lot else that I've been playing outside of finished Hogwarts Legacy, and at least the big main story. I have all the side quests left to do, and may go back through that. I figured that would be a good game to, relax after school, after a day of working, and I could just do a real quick little mission with that, or not worry about fighting big bosses. But between Jamie Owls and I know Simbu having gone through Dreamlight Valley, I am the bug is biting me to want to
Yep.
play that more
Oh,
now
it's fun.
because
Y-
I've had Simbu talk great things about it. And now with Jamie Owls in it, it's like, oh,
You,
I,
you
Yeah.
you definitely want to get into that. I have no interest only because that type of game is not my personal taste. That's the only reason
right.
why. These are fantastic games. But
So much
from what
fun.
I've seen, if you like the Animal Crossing style and you like Disney, Jamie Owls,
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's it. I mean, I can see some differences between Animal Crossing and Dreamlight Valley, but I feel like Dreamlight Valley has a lot more quests that keeps you wanting to play, whereas Animal Crossing, you finish the story and then you go on with your village and start building. Where Dreamlight Valley, there's a lot of things to do, and you get points and you unlock a lot of doorways into different Disney worlds. As of right now, I've got into the world of Moana. So I was able to get her character to live on the village, but it's a lot of fun and it keeps you entertained. So I would definitely recommend to join the cult, drink the Kool-Aid,
Come to the
join
dark
us.
side.
Yes, come to the dark side.
You have
Just to
cookies.
just to piggyback off Jamie Owls here real quick. There is an overall arcing story for Dreamlight Valley, but the thing what she's talking about, what she feels there's more quests is because each individual character you bring to your island has their own quest line. In the form of friendship level. So each one of them has their own set of quest line, which again adds just a bunch of side quests to, it's Animal Crossing with side quests, I guess.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's not bad. At least it's something more to do than, right now.
Yeah.
There are certain challenges and things you could do for Animal Crossing, like, collecting all the fossils and catching all the bugs and fish, but yeah.
Yeah,
No
that's,
shame in dropping a game you're done with. Sorry, go
Yes.
ahead,
Yeah.
James.
no, it's
I-
okay.
I'm only now playing it just to log in every few days to make sure I don't get roaches. And that's, just turning it on and going through the main menu and greeting your day and then, move around a little bit and then close it down. So
Just be careful how you phrase that. If you tell people you need to clean your house because of roaches, they might.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Every few days, I have to move all my furniture to kill the roaches.
Yes. You know.
I'm glad that you're getting some progress with Octopath Traveler 2. That is probably the epitome of a classic JRPG, turn-based one. So it is not an easy game. I think there was difficulty settings. Was there difficulty settings, Storm?
I don't know. I don't remember setting one. So I
'Cause
may have to look at the menu, and that reading up the side menu was another thing I had to Google. Like, where the hell's the menu thing? And it's the triangle button, but it was like pressing everything to bring up a menu. But I honestly don't know, and I don't remember.
Okay.
There might be. If there is, I'll set it. I usually set them on the easiest to let me go through it once,
Yeah, because I was looking, I just did a quick Google thing and it says no, it's just standard, whatever, like normal. It is not like I said, not an easy one, but it is a lot of fun and looks really pretty too.
Mhm.
Simbu, how about you? What video games are you currently playing?
Wait, video games? What are those?
Games that are video.
Oh, like watching a movie in like watching an IMAX in 3D. All right, cool. No, I haven't done any of those.
That's a shame because the new Deadpool movie is pretty good.
I haven't seen that yet. I've recently seen Twisters, but all seriousness, I have the king has returned to Fortnite, as Fox likes to call me.
For now.
For now, yes, for now. We all know big summer release coming up soon for me, which will most likely take me back out of Fortnite again. But yeah, it's basically been Fortnite, 2K24 with the, SFWF streams. Other than that, not a lot. A little bit of multiverses, a little bit of Disney Speedstorm, but kind of like Storm does with Animal Crossing, multiverses and Speedstorm are kind of just one of those log in to collect the daily rewards, and that's it.
That's cool. Yeah, definitely playing a lot of multiplayer focused games. For me, I've been playing a little bit of Hi-Fi Rush, but it's mostly been trails, and more trails. Finally completed the Trails in the Sky trilogy. These are like 50 to 80 hour JRPGs, turn-based, and shoot, I finished the second one about 2 or 3 weeks ago, started the third one, and I just beat that yesterday at about 42 hours. So um I think the second one, Trails in the Sky, second chapter, is probably going to be in the top 3 or the top 5 of my games I played for 2024. It is that good. I didn't think the third one, honestly, the third one probably is the weakest one so far. And it was freaking brilliant. It was fantastic. Um, so I'm playing the fourth one now. It's its own duology. It's called Trails from Zero on the Switch. I'm finally done with the games that are not on the current gen consoles. There was 5 of them. Done with them all. Now I can play them all on the Switch, which is nice. I can dock it onto the Switch dock, play them on the big screen whenever Jamie Owls isn't taking over the big screen with Disney Dreamlight Valley. But yeah, that's really trails and more trails. Excellent JRPG, great music, great story, excellent character development. Cannot recommend it enough. But let's get into the main topic, the summertime, summertime, which I guess the Trails in the Sky trilogy could be a summertime game, at least for me, because it's one that I'm going to associate with the summer overall. And we're going to be celebrating that by talking about all the games that are related to summer, from video game events that occur in the summer season, to games released in there, to even, like I said, some we associated with it. We are on the metaphorical cruise ship that leads to the beach here today. One note I will say regarding this topic: huge shout out to fellow YouTube content creator Upper Nimbus. Again, that's Upper Nimbus on YouTube, as he had an awesome collaboration with other fellow YouTubers on a great list of JRPGs associated with summer. So this topic is inspired by Upper Nimbus and those fantastic content creators. Link to that video in the description below. And we're going to go ahead and start it off with our first question here, and that's: what are some of your favorite video game related events that occur in the summer? And I'll open us off by mentioning a dead. Actually, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna mention two events that aren't around anymore. One, because it doesn't need to be, and two, because it's dead. They killed it dead, and that is E3. I loved watching E3 conferences, and especially like the history of it, when you've got the guy coming up, I think his name is Steve Race, $2.99, and shuts down the Sega Saturn completely in the North American market. So thank you, PlayStation, for doing that. I guess, even though Sega Saturn, they had their own gems in of themselves, but Sega Saturn's not a thing here. That's part of the reason why. And E3 was that too. And then you also had moments when, like, Twilight Princess, Legend of Zelda was revealed. That was a big moment for that. And then who can forget the fantastic cringeworthiness that was the Wii Music demonstration, where they're trying to do the thing, and the actual stuff isn't responding correctly, and it's not like coordinating with the screen at all, and they're trying to do the Wii Motion Plus with Skyward Sword, and it's not responding, and it just looks bad, and you just kind of cringing inside, and it's like watching somebody's soul leave their body as they're trying to do this demonstration, stuff like that. It's the kind of the stuff of legends. I think I'm going to miss E3 even just for those moments alone. And then of course, Smash Brothers, everybody is here. That's probably my personal greatest E3 moment. Um, to that end, I'm cheating. I'm going to say a second one, and that is the summertime event when Smash Ultimate had demos going across the country. I am such a Smash nerd, where I went to one of the demos that they had in August or on Chicagoland at a Best Buy. I got there 3 hours before the demo actually was there, and there was a line of about 25 people at that point. And then by the time the store opened at 10, there was a line like wrapping around the block and down the street. And there must have been like 200, 250 people in line to do a 2 to 4 minute demo. Being able to play a game 5 months before its release, a demo that was out on the E3 floor. It was just a really cool memory to be able to have. I got my butt kicked I will say I proudly got my butt kicked by a pair of teenage girls in one of the Smash events because I I could give my excuses, but I roundly got my butt kicked. So I will gladly admit to it. I had a lot of fun. The little refs weren't watching, so I'm like, let's get another match in. And they were looking all scared, like, what? Are you they're not going to see. So we hit the start button with all the same characters and started playing again. And somebody came by and be like, are you guys still doing the match? I'm like, yeah, we're still doing the match. And they're like, thank you. Because otherwise I have to go all the way back in the line and wait maybe 3 hours to do another match, which I didn't not do. So some fun video game related events that I associate with. I think if my two brothers were here, they'd probably mention, I think there was like a Nintendo thing that they went to and they were kids that I didn't go to. I think I was too young. Maybe they'd mention that, but I don't know if they had a lot of fun with it or if that's a favorite memory event with summer. Um, Astrimedes, I'm gonna pick on you first. What is one of your favorite, if you have one, video game related events that occurred in the summer?
So for me, I'm mostly a basement troll. I tend to not go out and do video game events necessarily, but there are some online events that normally catch my interest. So first one I'll mention, probably pretty obvious one is, like the Steam summer sale typically is a pretty good sale. I have a very massive wish list typically on Steam of a bunch of indie games and such that have caught my eye, and I'm always looking for a discount because I'm also cheap. Um, so then the other thing recently, I don't know if it started this year or maybe last year, but the Steam Next Fest I'm a huge fan of, and that was in June of this year. There's actually going to be another one in October, but I really like it because it provides demos. I think demos are kind of like a lost thing that many of us have forgotten about, that it used to be kind of the normal case in, the old days on PC. Often you would start with a demo because you had some shareware disk you got from somebody that contained a version of Doom that only had the first couple levels or whatever. That's technically shareware, but I like being able to play a demo because at the end of the day, like, you can say what you want about a game. You can even provide screenshots and a description, but you don't really know what it plays like. Excuse me as I move some power cables. My cat's about to puke on.
Oh.
But you don't really know what a game plays like until you actually play it. So I mean, to me, it's like that's where you put your money where your mouth is. Like, how's the game actually feel? So I love being able to pick up a demo for a game and actually play it, and then have that game, more on my radar and more thoughts about it and all that. So I really like the Steam Next Fest. I spent hours going through and just playing random demos of things, and I came away with probably 3 or 4 different games that I will almost certainly buy once they come out.
Very nice. Yeah. Hopefully your cat's still not getting sick if you need to clean it.
He's dry heaving over there. Hopefully it doesn't go any further than that.
Yeah, when you were talking about the Steam Next Fest, I think at one of our previous podcasts or even but maybe before it, like it sounded like it was pretty exciting. Like that's really cool that they're
Yeah.
up and doing
It,
that.
there's a lot of smaller developers too, which of course, is my wheelhouse in terms of the games I'm interested in. So I like seeing those smaller dev games and having a chance to play them because they're not going to have a marketing budget. So being able to play it is nice.
But they get that big enough that catches enough attention that becomes Valve's playground to reveal something like the Steam Deck 2, which is something I could see them doing in I think in 2 years.
Yep. Makes sense.
Very, very real possibility. Um, Jamie Owls, what would you say would be some of your favorite video game related events that have occurred in the summer or that you like with the summer?
Honestly, I can't really think of anything I would relate to summer. I mean, besides the whole E3 when they start announcing upcoming video games, which was exciting. Honestly, I can't really think of anything, so this is probably the only question I can't really answer.
No, it's okay. I like to watch a lot of those events with you as well because it's like really exciting to see what all the game companies have coming up. Even the Xbox one that they had
Mhm.
was a surprisingly excellent showing, and it was cool to see what they had on deck, especially knowing that a little over half of it was coming or will be coming to the PS5, Switch, or Steam Deck. So like, okay, I can get behind this. Really excited to see that.
I mean, I guess if you could count the State of Play and then Nintendo Direct too, because
Yeah.
those kind of come out around beginning summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. It's like I call it the when I because it's Nintendo and they have to have it during the middle of the day, I block off and add that as
Mhm.
like a meeting time for my real life job. And so when I get inevitably asked about it, oh, what's this meeting? Like, oh, so I'm taking my lunch early and I'm going to be watching this thing. I was like, oh, what's that about? I was like, okay, it's essentially like the Super Bowl, but for video games is how because it has that impact to me personally. And then once I say
Yeah.
that, even though it's the embodiment to commercialism and capitalism. I mean, well, wait, that's the Super Bowl with the commercials. Everybody always talks about the commercials. It's almost a perfect metaphor. Using that, people understand that it's something important. So yeah.
I would just tell them it's a doctor's appointment for something embarrassing that they shouldn't ask any more questions about.
And then proceed to elaborate on what it's about. I
Yes.
gotcha. I gotcha. Speaking of, no, I'm not going to say, speaking of elaborating something that's embarrassing, no, I'm not going to go that route. Simple. Did you have any favorite like video game related events in the summer at all?
Well, I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna cheat and say two, but I'm also gonna cheat a second time and pull a Nintendo. So first one was 1999, summer of 99, when right after Super Smash Brothers released for the 64. Of course, when they had the they had the Nintendo trailer going across the country to different festivals. I was lucky enough to have it was parked at the Lyle Ice to the Skies Festival for the 4th of July weekend and party and whatnot. So then got to play Super Smash Brothers for the first time ever on that. Um, Being a kid, I enjoyed it. It was fun, especially the fact that I beat a bunch of people and they were a lot older than me. It's like, you got beat by like a 12-year-old. So um and then the other one I'm going to go with, and this is where I'm doing the Nintendo cheat. Uh Happened on September 27th, 2007, and that was the Halo 2 tournament to honor the midnight release of Halo 3.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Um,
That's a
of
good
course, I
one.
say it. as Fox elaborated earlier before we started recording, Nintendo's summer is all the way up to September 29th. So I'm pulling the Nintendo sheet and saying September 27th, even though that's well out of the range of normal summer. I don't care. Nintendo cheated, so can I.
Summer
But
equals
yes.
not winter.
Yeah, but it was great because it was a midnight release for Halo 3. So instead of just everyone standing around emo tab, Game Crazy decided to set up a big white blanket and a projector, and they threw out an Xbox 360, and we booted up Halo, and they booted up Halo 2, and we all just had fun unaliving ourselves or each other in a fun bragging rights tournament. Of course, I got out of the first round, but I didn't get any further than winning my first heat. So sad, but I still had fun hanging out with other people.
No, that's awesome. I miss midnight releases. I'm too old for it now, but man, they were great.
I don't think they even really do them anymore.
Yeah, it really tends to be rare, but I mean, there's no point with everything being digital and like opening up either at like midnight or I guess
11
for us
o'clock
11 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, and global. When things are more global, it's like tying things at a certain time. It starts to get extra stupid. So,
Yeah,
and
apparently.
like that, the big problem is unless they have some kind of actual event planned, it's almost like, why should I be there at 11:45 at night to play it when, if I already got it digitally, it's already preloaded on my system and I can just start playing it, from the house.
Yeah, exactly. Storm, how about you? Do you have any favorite video game related events that you enjoy in the summer?
The only thing that I have is the big old San Diego based Comic-Con. If I could get there some year, I would love to. That is on the bucket list to attend. So no, I mean, outside of the things that you guys get excited about or share with me for video game, it's like the E3s to announce and stuff. I don't really watch them. I'll get my updates from you all, but the Comic-Con stuff I get in my feeds and I'll follow, and I just absolutely love seeing everyone come together and make the big announcements, like Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the Marvel franchise as Doctor Doom. I'm not at all excited about that at all. So those things, that is the big thing in the summer for my video game nerdery that's I get excited about, is the Comic-Con, which really, I don't know how much video game discussions they do there, because the TV shows and movie announcements take over everything, even though it's a celebration of all things that make our lovely little geeky hearts happy. And I use those terms very endearing, nerdy, and geeks. I mean that in the best of terms. So yeah, I don't have, that is about it for summer, just the Comic-Con.
Yeah, they do.
I feel that. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say
Go
they just do like a couple video game related things. I know they announced a remake of Soul Reaver 1 and 2 from the PS1. That was announced from the latest San Diego one. Simbu, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know that unless it's like a big thing, like new Final Fantasy, new Super Mario, whatever, like a massive game, that it's not really a big deal at the SDCC, but video games are still highly represented there, in the fashion of cosplay. I've seen some incredible cosplays come out of San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh yeah,
especially Cholo Thanos with the Infinity Chancla was one of the best cosplays I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
It is a Hispanic guy that's dressed, straight Cholo. He's painted himself purple like Thanos, and he's got a golden chancla with the 5 Infinity Stones on it. It is one of the best cosplays I've ever seen for entertainment value. And of course, there was one from it was either Diablo 4 or a Skyrim cosplay, and it was all LED'd. It had smoke to it. It was impressive.
Yeah, that is another big thing that is fun to watch is at these cons, even though they may have a very little for video games. Like the one I went to several years ago where I got to meet Tom Hiddleston, there weren't really any video game related things other than maybe a booth here or there, like artists who have drawn things or done video game voices. So there's still a representation, even though the bigger thing is the comic books and the actors and or movies, whatever. But it's fun to see that video games are still represented and they're a lot more cosplay even than if there aren't panels for the video games. So it's fun to see how big the community is and how creative everyone is, because those costumes, like Simbu said, they're just some of them are just amazing, and that is the best part of watching anything for Comic-Con.
Yeah, definitely. I know a couple of the YouTube content creators that I follow and are friends with. There was a convention a couple of weeks ago and in LA, and video games were a big presence there, but it was an anime convention, and there's a lot of parallelness to anime and video games, often in the same way. It's kind of same thing with like cartoons and stuff. So
Yep.
yeah. Kind of as we continue our summer cruise, the next question I'll ask is if you guys have a favorite release that occurred in the summer months. And we were talking about it before the cast, and saying summer could technically mean between the official astronomical time of like June 21st through September 21st. It could be meteorological of June 1st through August 31st. As Simbu had alluded, it could be Nintendo wise and go to September 30th, because I remember when they released Splatoon 3, they did it on like the 29th and still thought it was the summertime. So we're kind of keeping it nice in general where when it's warm. And what are our favorite releases that occurred in the summer? And I'm going to say a couple of mine. One it would be like Ghost of Tsushima. One that I played like about, what was it, like 6 years ago, I think, when it came out for the PS4. It probably still is to this day the most graphically detailed, best detailed type of looking video game for the that particular system. You wouldn't know it was a PS4 game, at least for the time. Um, really associated with that, even though there's a lot of like areas that look like the fall or autumn with the falling leaves and everything like that, even but really like to enjoy and think of that for the summer. Another would be like Sonic the Hedgehog 3, because that came out in the summer. That was a lot of fun. And even like Donkey Kong Country 1. We were kind of riding the Donkey Kong Country cruise here a little earlier. Definitely a fantastic game, a great game series, but man, that was really fun for summer. And then of course, well, I will end it there because otherwise I might spoil things. Um, Storms, I think I bugged you last. Let's have you go first for if you've got a favorite release that occurred for a video game in the summer months.
I do, but okay, I'm going to confirm this one because it's right at the end of May. And it's May 29th, and as my summer starts really at the end of May, being working in schools and stuff, I'm gonna count it. So Mario Kart Deluxe 8, or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out May 29th. So that would be one of my most favorite summer games, and the whole reason I wanted a Nintendo Switch was to be able to play Mario Kart. So that one is definitely a big favorite. And another couple of favorites, one you mentioned was the Mario 64. I loved Mario 64, and I'm glad to have the the three games on the Nintendo Switch when they came out with a couple of years ago with the Starshine, or what was the other one? Yeah.
Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy.
Yes. Yes. So at least I have that on the Switch, and of course they have the online portal where you can play it now through the Nintendo 64 thingy on your Switch. And Banjo and Kazooie also was a summer release that I really enjoyed for the 64. Oh, I can't think of anything else that came out in the like Texas Chainsaw Massacre last summer. It was a fun one. I've not played it a whole hell of a lot since the last summer, fall, but you know, it was a good one for summer, and yeah, that's about it.
Nice. No, those are some good picks. Really enjoy especially those 64 entries. Uh Simbu, how about you? What are your favorite video game releases in the summer months?
All right, I only have one, and it's called Waifu Attack, and it's hot bikini anime girls shooting each other with squirt guns.
Funny enough, that's on the Nintendo Switch eShop. Like,
I saw it scrolling through game like the summer sales or whatever, and it showed up on the PSN. I was dying. I'm like, I think I sent it to Jason the 13th. I'm like, hey, look, I found a battle royale game for you.
yeah, it's odd. It said that it was a game he was playing.
Games that sound like a joke for 100, Alex.
But let's get serious here. Lego Indiana Jones, The Original Adventures, released in 2008 on June 3rd. It was fantastic to play. It was Lego version of the original 3 movies. They did release, Adventure Continues, which was different scenes from the original 3 movies, plus some from, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which everyone hates completely, even though I thought it wasn't terrible. Could have been a lot worse. It could have been, The Last Jedi. Sorry. Could have been that train wreck, but I digress. I enjoyed my time with it. And of course, I'm a sucker for Lego games, so being able to play through Indiana Jones back on the Wii Lego version was pretty fun. Next up, Summer, which is September 7th still. The original Spider-Man for PS4 by Insomniac. Again, fantastic game. Again, the biggest highlight anybody can tell. The two main highlights of the game is that, one, you're not getting the stupid origin story for Spider-Man again. I don't have to learn to walk. I don't have to watch him learn to shoot the web. It just tells me push the button and the web shoots. Cool. Because again, you've been Spider-Man for like 8 years already, which is fantastic. And then 2, fast travel was not something anybody even wanted in the game, because the traversal system was so much fun, swinging through, lower Manhattan and the Bronx and everything like that. Just, it was so much fun. You're like, I got to go all the way across the map. Wait, it took me 5 minutes to get all the way across the map? Oh, that's because I was swinging like everywhere and to everything, and I just wanted to swing. I got lost in swinging. So again, fantastic, Arkham series style combat. Again, it can't talk much enough. But I digress, and I've saved the best for last. Here it is. We're capitalizing. July 15th, 2016 gave us one of the, if not the best Marvel game of all time. Of course, Fox, you talked about it earlier.
Nah.
I'm talking Deadpool. The game. Oh my God, this game is so much fun. It's not open world. It's a very linear kind of experience, but it's a lot of the Deadpool, razz. It's a lot of the Deadpool pizzazz. It's PG. It's rated M, but it's not quite rated R, if that makes sense. So it's a rated M game because very adult, and they don't do the Wolverine Origins where they stitch his mouth shut, they let him talk, they let the voices talk. I mean, for God's sakes, the first thing you do in the game is take a dump. I mean, the first thing you do is you make a stink pickle, as they call it. So right from the get-go that it's going to be crazy and chaos. The opening, right when he gets to knock on the door, I'm not going to go too crazy with it, but he gets a knock on the door, he gets a package, he gets the script for the game, and then just from that moment, you know the game is going to be fantastic. So, and I know recently Fox, I believe you shared it, said that this game is currently what I'm holding worth at least about $100 because it is the complete version.
Yep.
But yeah, it originally released, like I said, that it originally released on PS3. I don't think I still have my PS3 copy anymore. Sad faces. But so I did have to make sure to get a hands on the PS4 copy when it released in 2015 in November 2015. So, but yes, Deadpool, fantastic summer release. And again, it's one of those games where it's like, hey, Marvel, you can be mature rated. And
Yeah,
people will
because
still
I
love
mean,
it.
the movies themselves, with this one that just released the past weekend that we saw, it by far manages to keep that whole
Deadpool.
flavor.
It's cool.
What's
Deadpool. Samuel L. Jackson is in it, apparently.
the
He plays
one
Deadpool
thing
now.
that they didn't allow, apparently Disney said no, that's not in it, and I'm going to spoil you guys, there is no drug use in it. So unlike the previous movies where there was explicit, that is not in Deadpool and Wolverine. Sorry guys if I spoiled the movie for you, but
Well,
there you
that's
go.
like when Disney took over Star Wars. Did you notice there's no more smoking in Star Wars? No more actual alcoholic drinking? Because when Disney took over Star Wars, they said no smoking, no drinking. So everything is, even if it's alcoholic, it doesn't look alcoholic. It looks like some kind of, fruit kitty cocktail looking thing.
Now I will say there is alcohol and quite a bit of it in the new Deadpool, but yeah, no hard drugs. Sorry, Jamie Owls.
Hmm.
But Jamie Owls, while I got you, let's ask you, do you have a favorite release that occurred in the summer months?
I do. There's a few that I have in mind that came out recently, and let me just pull up my notes here. June of 2020, that's when The Last of Us Part 2 came out. It was June 19th. I remember having a lot of fun with the first one, and I was really looking forward to the second one coming out. And remember when I received it, I played it right away, and I played through it really fast. I remember just every single day after work, I just played for a few hours, and I managed to beat it within like 2 weeks. That was a game I looked forward to in the summer. Another one, which was a year after, which was the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart that came out in June 11th, 2021. As some of you know, I do like the Ratchet and Clank series. I really enjoyed that one. I look forward to more Ratchet and Clank games, and honestly, I haven't played a lot of the Ratchet and Clank games. There's a couple that I haven't played that was for the PS3 and 2. So one of these days, I want to go on a purge and just play all Ratchet and Clank games from the first to the last. I don't know when that will be. Hopefully that would happen soon, because again, my backlog is so large, but maybe that could be a goal for 2025. And the two other games, they were more September, so I will say that September is part of summer. So there was another game I was really looking forward to, and it came out in 2022, which was Stray. When they first made the announcement of that game in 2020, I was stoked because, as you all know, I love cats, and just to find out that there's a game where you could play as an actual cat, I was thrilled about it, and I every day kept looking online to see updates. And I remember for a while there, I wasn't hearing anything, and I got worried thinking that they may have dropped it. But thankfully, though, that same year, around spring going into summer, they made the announcement that the game is going to be released soon, and it came out July 19th. So that was definitely another summer game. And last but not least, back in 2019, the Spyro Reignited trilogy. That was probably the game that I was excited for the most out of all the games that I looked forward to, because Spyro to me was definitely one of those very fun nostalgic games I grew up playing. Um, so that would probably be the number one summer game that I looked forward to playing.
And I can't believe that it's been over 5 years and there's no Spyro 4 news or anything like
I
that.
know.
And apparently Toys for Bob is working on something with Microsoft, and it's not Spyro, it's not Crash, so that's not
We'll
great.
see. I don't know. Hopefully we'll hear something, because same with Tomb Raider, that's been quiet, and I know that game was bought out by another company. They said they're working on a new game, but we have not heard anything except for like, I think it came out last year, the first look of Lara Croft, so I don't know. We'll see.
And of course, I'm very skeptic on that now the next Tomb Raider, because look what happened to Halo when
Mm-hmm.
343 got a hold of it. So they can tend to go either way, not trying to put that dark damper cloud, but I am going to be very skeptical of the next Tomb Raider game. I did love the last trilogy of it, but
Mm-hmm.
again, companies facing buyouts and things like that, it's hit or it's like a 50-50 shot.
It's like I'm not getting any younger, so them holding off on these games, like I want to play them while I'm still alive.
Exactly. Astrimedes, how about you? What do you have a favorite release or three for the summer months?
Sure. Just because I mention it all the time and it's close enough. Darkest Dungeon 2 came out May 8th, 2023. Pretty close to summer. That one, as everyone knows, I like to talk about. The game, so back in 2015, Duck Game came out June 4th, 2015 on Steam, and I can't quite explain why, other than the fact that it has editable levels that some of my friends have gotten very into. I continue to play this game to this day for reasons I can't totally explain. But another one was back in 2011. Bastion came out in July. The game Bastion, it ended up getting ported to a bunch of consoles. I believe it was a PC release initially, and that was sort of in one of these like first waves of these indie games that were kind of getting a lot of attention back in 2010, 2011. So that one was memorable. And I'll just mention that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was released in Japan in May 27th, 1994. Amusingly, as I discovered, it was released on Groundhog Day in the US, which is funny. And there was a lot of marketing budget for the US release, which makes sense because I actually remember some commercials for this back then.
That's funny. Yeah, it's a funny thing with the whole Sonic releases themselves, because when I read the Console Wars book by, I think it was Blake Harris, he said Sonic 2 was actually the first time there was a coordinated release across the country for a single video game, where like it used to just be December of 1989. Well, no, this was a specific month, a specific date of a year. And so when we talk about, okay, now everybody gets everything globally and there isn't any, that's why you can thank Sonic 2 for that. But to the other end, it's like, okay, it's the fairest it's ever been. We're getting one of the coolest things with Final Fantasy 16 personally for me. Uh, Everybody got it at the same time. That did not happen years and years ago. I remember like Final Fantasy 2 US, we had to wait about half a year at least before we got it here versus how long Japan had it. So
Well, didn't
it's
they have to make a version for babies for the US people where all the Phoenix Downs cost much less and all that kind of stuff?
yep. Because we are simple Americans who don't understand JRPG mechanics, and that's how we ended up with. I think his name was it Brian, the hero of Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, the SquareSoft's answer to a question nobody asked regarding, okay, can we give the Americans an easy RPG game? Yeah, that's or no, it was, I think Brian is Quest 64. I think it's a different thing. But as we prepare to dock this summer cruise ship at our final destination here, we'll ask you guys, are there any specific games that you just associate with summertime itself, whether or not it was even released in the summer? And for me, we of course got, and I've discussed this in my video where I interviewed my dad. We had hot summer games, and their games released that we had for the NES when we picked it up in May of '87. And when I was literally 4 years old and my brothers were 6 and 8, and we had an apartment, lived in an apartment, and we would go swimming as little kids and then come back home and play on the NES. And so we play Kid Icarus, Super Mario Brothers 1, Zelda 1, Metroid, Castlevania. So my dad had dubbed them hot summer games. And for me, I also had games like Super Metroid. I think that released in April of '94, but I remember playing it that summer. Funny enough, we talked about Donkey Kong Country. I associate Donkey Kong Country 3 and 2 because that was weirdly enough, the order I played it the summer between my 8th and ninth grades. Because of course, I was a nerd and I'm playing video games. Played Quake 2. That was the first time I ever got into multiplayer gaming. Final Fantasy X was a big one where I played that in the summer of '03, 2 years after it came out. And then even recently, like Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana for the PS4, fantastic game I kind of associate with summer because of the summer setting. I remember I played it in like January, but it occurred on like a deserted island. So it was a cool thing to like, okay, weather outside here in Chicagoland sucks, but I can enjoy this summer themed game. So, and then as I mentioned, Trails, lot of fun summer sort of memories. Jamie Owls, do you have any specific games you can just sort of associate with summer, maybe you enjoyed in the summertime?
I can't really think of games I played in the summer like that I really enjoyed or associated with, but I guess I associate any games that has to do with a lot of water levels. Like a couple of the Mario games I played, anything that has to do with water, I think of summer, and I know a couple of the Donkey Kongs had it too. Um, but I do remember growing up as a kid, especially during our summer vacations, that we played a lot of video games, or my brother and I used to play a lot. I can't really remember exactly what we played, but I do know I did play a lot of the California games on the NES. I think that's the title, but
Mhm.
yeah, anything that has to do with like water or even a jungle level, um, anything that just looks tropical, I guess I would just associate with that with summer.
So like when you play Grand Theft Auto 5, you take the jet ski out into the ocean so that you could get the main character
Yes.
eaten by a
So I,
shark.
yeah, just so if I'm brave enough to not be afraid to swim in a video game water. A Jaws Unleashed for PlayStation 2 was another one that, yeah, even though I was a shark, I was still kind of scary to play. I was a nice one shark. I was a nice shark too. I didn't eat people.
Yeah, I remember I tried to get you into that game Man Eater. I think it was on either Steam or the PS4, or you were the shark and you had to fight the divers.
Yeah, or I was the diver and the shark was after me. I couldn't do it.
Simbu, how about you? Any specific games you kind of just associate with summer itself?
Well, you brought it up. I guess I'll go ahead and add that on my list. Let's go with Maneater, as where Jamie Owls was the nice shark. I was the jerk. I ate everything. I tail thwacked everything. I destroyed everything. I couldn't get enough of the blood, guts, and carnage of that game. But let's get my three in here. Starting in newest to oldest, we're going to start with, since we talked about anime and video games, let's start with Fairy Tale for the PS4. Of course, not explicitly set in summer, but it's in a warmer climate, it's warmer weather, it's a bayside, it's like a seaside, town that the game takes place in. And of course, because it's anime. There's fan service, and there's a whole big bikini photo shoot thingy they have to do, and it's or swimsuit photo thing. It's a lot of summer, and of course, like I said, it's OVA fan service with the swimwear and stuff like that. But I associate with summer, and not to mention, it also came out in July of 2020. So, solid game, solid summer game right there for me. Number 2, Astrimedes. Be ready for some piracy. And of course, I'm talking about Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag for the PS3, which there we go. I'm back. Okay. Again, it came out in October, but not specifically a summer game. But when you think high seas and pirates and ships and sailing, you don't think of December. You think Caribbean, where the game takes place in the whole, United Caribbean seas down there, and you think of summer, you think of palm trees, you think of maybe some adult beverages on the beach, and things like that. So just a fantastic game. It's fun. It's always fun to be a pirate. And then of course my final one. It came out September 6th of 2011. The sequel was stuck in development hell for many, many, many moons. Of course, I'm talking about the original Dead Island. As the name suggests, for those of you who don't know, it takes place all on an island, the fictional island of Benoi, where the big zombie virus is taken hold of it. You can play as one of 5 survivors technically, but there's only 4 you can play the whole campaign through. Ryder Whitehead is the 5th survivor, but he has his own little prequel to the main story of Dead Island. Fun little fact about Dead Island is you can find Jason Voorhees in it.
Really?
Jason Voorhees is in Dead Island. When you get to the final area, the jungle, you have to search deep and far into the center-ish area of the map, but you will come across a cabin. In the cabin, there is a sweater on a table with a zombie head with hair, so mama, and it's not Jason Voorhees, but they call him Jason, so it's not Voorhees, but it's a big, Goonies-looking guy that is ridiculously strong, has a ridiculous amount of HP, and he runs around in a jumpsuit with a hockey mask. But that's where you get the chainsaw. So it's a fun little Easter egg to come across it, because you normally listen for zombie screams, and all of a sudden you hear, it's like, what is that? And you're like, oh God, it's Jason, run!
And for those of you that have woken up from the Jason Voorhees impersonation, welcome back. No, yeah, that's a really
Once
good.
in a while, I gotta wake him up, right?
Yeah, absolutely, really good pick though. With especially with Dead Island, like that's if there's ever like a summertime pick, man, that's good. That's a good one. Astrimedes, how about you? Are there any specific games you just associate with summer itself, whether or not it was released?
So most of the games I play end up taking place underground or in disgusting caves or things like that. So not a ton in terms of like recent things I've been playing, but for some reason, the first thing that came to my mind with this topic was the old Adventure Island games on the NES. You play Master Hudson, I believe is what they call him. You're kind of like a sort of caveman type guy, except you have like a baseball cap and a grass skirt on. It's like automatic scrolling, left to right movement, kind of annoying gameplay, to be quite honest, where you kind of trip over rocks and stuff like that as you're forced to continue marching left to right. But the series did get a little better. They made, I think, 3 of them on the NES, Adventure Island 1, 2, and 3. by the third one, you can start to kind of ride dinosaurs and stuff. So they added a little bit of variety, but it always reminds me of summer, basically because it has a very like tropical island setting, and it's kind of all outdoors and summer themed. Another interestingly, actually, as I looked into this game a little bit as research here, I discovered something I didn't know, which is that these games came about because Hudson Soft had the rights to Wonder Boy game, but they had the rights to the game, but the company that owned Wonder Boy, which I'm forgetting now, they had sold the rights to the character to someone else. So what ended up happening is Hudson Soft had the rights to this game but couldn't use the character, so they had to invent their own kind of substitute main character to stick into the game while still pretty much aping the gameplay of Wonder Boy. And interestingly, Wonder Boy sequels apparently kind of advanced the formula and took it out of the auto-scrolling 2D realm, while the Adventure Island games always stuck to that kind of original formula of the original Wonder Boy. So another pick that kind of reminds me of summer is the old Jaws game on the NES, which everyone hates on, but for some reason I actually kind of love in a weird way. And that one always reminds me of summer because again, you're out on the ocean, you're on a boat, and you're diving into the water and occasionally being eaten by sharks, and mostly just shooting jellyfish.
Nice. Yeah, and Jaws it could be one of the quickest games to beat. Technically, I think you could beat it in like 2 to 5 minutes if you're lucky or you get the timing right or something like that.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, technically an early roguelike too, because it's randomized how your play through the game will actually go.
Yep. And then the whole Wonder Boy Adventure Island thing, that's interesting in of itself. I would say the most innovative has to be the Wonder Boy series by taking it into up to and including RPG and Metroidvania type stylings of play, and it's still going on to this day. So that's really commendable, all things considered. Storm, let's finish this out. We've docked our cruise ship. We're exiting the boat, and we want to know, are there specific games that you just associate with summertime itself, whether or not it was released in the season?
Yes. First I wanted to add back to my list of games that I was happy that came out in summer. I forgot Mario Tennis for the Switch came out in June of 2017 or 2018. And then there was, the juggernaut that is Fortnite that came out in June of 2017. It was a pre-release, but then by September, the Battle Royale section was open for everyone to play. So, of course, that being just one of my favorites. Anyway, Animal Crossing, to come back to it, has, one good thing about that game is as you go through seasons where you live, the game goes through those same seasons. It's whatever atmosphere or hemisphere that you live in, it will follow those seasons. So during the summer, they have some events that they do. There's a wedding festival, a wedding thing where you have to take wedding photos of two villagers. There's the bug and fish tournament where you have to try to catch a certain amount of bugs and you have to try to catch a certain amount of fish. And also for the whole month of August, you can design fireworks, and they shoot those fireworks off every Sunday night from, I think it's 9 p.m. till midnight or something in game. I don't remember. When it becomes dark on your island, that's when they have them shoot off, and you can design those fireworks to be anything that you want. So that's fun. Also, one of Jamie Owls mentioned it, California games. I used to love playing California games and summer games on the Commodore 64. That's how old I am. And oh my God, my cousin and I would spend a lot of time with my cousin, and my uncle was the one who had the Commodore 64 with the games. And we spent a lot of summers playing, California games and the summer games. And any games that I could swim in, I was nodding my head along with Jamie Owls. I love making my characters swim. I'm not the best swimmer in real life, so if I could swim in a video game, I will. There's another summer thingy. Oh, my favorite in a game I do associate with summer because I played it a lot during the thing that shall not be named in 2020. Friday the 13th. We streamed it a lot, and a lot of friends would come on and play with the Night Owls, and I would take turns doing a stream of that video game and just get people to join us and play. So, and it being a camp and being summer camp, it is quite fitting. And rest in peace that lovely game. And hopefully we'll see it someday, maybe in the future, eventually again or something like it. But yeah, that is about it.
I like to interject. I forgot, but there was a game I played and finished recently, which was called The Quarry. That's like another summer type game that I would associate with. Because you're in the woods, you're in a camp, so.
Not so good. That's good. Good interjection, because that would be quite well themed with summer itself.
Yeah.
And I did have one fishy game that I played on the Switch. Was it Feeding Frenzy? It was called, where you're a shark and you have to try to eat different sized fishes, and as you get bigger, then the fish that you have to eat are bigger, and you can't touch certain things, otherwise you die. So that was fun.
Switch version of Maneater.
Yep, exactly.
That's funny. No, definitely got a lot of fun summary type choices. Really, in summertime's my favorite season, so it's always cool to hear everybody's various summer stories, anecdotes, what have you. Let us know in the comments section below, if you are listening / watching on YouTube, your favorite summertime games, either released in the summer or you just associate with summer, because like you might wonder, okay, why does Fox like Super Metroid? That wasn't even released in the summertime. It was something I remember playing as a kid when it came out, and like going swimming in our little above ground pool, and then running back in and taking over the Super Nintendo for an hour or more and plugging away at Super Metroid. So let us know if you have any summertime games. A huge shout out again to our fantastic cast and crew. Links are going to be in the description below for all of them where applicable, as well as Upper Nimbus's fantastic 12 JRPG games associated with summer. So make sure you check that out as well. And of course, thanks to you, the audience, for joining in and listening to us ramble about fantastic games and games we are playing. We really appreciate it. Go play Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3 are available on the Switch now on the NSO service, and Tropical Freeze.
2's the best.
2 is the best. Tropical Freeze is available for digital download for purchase, as well as HD. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD coming in January of next year. That one, in my opinion, is the worst one, but it was the worst because of mandatory motion control. So hopefully don't have to deal with that. And the 3DS one wasn't much better because you had that awful circle joystick. You got things to say about that? Let me know. Comment section below. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great day. Wait, what? Before we go, parting shots. Any parting shots before we go, guys?
Circle joystick was the best.
You heard it here first.
Jaws on NES is a great game.
What was a great game?
Jaws on NES. I'll fight anyone who disagrees.
That was a good game. I watched a video of that and remembered playing it. It unlocked a memory I had long forgotten. It's a good game. E.T. is still better.
Astrimedes is really AI. He doesn't really exist.
And I was expecting Jamie Owls, when she was doing her hair, to cover her face with her hair and go, 7 days.
Count my fingers. I'm not AI. Look, there's 5 of them.
For now.
Yeah, exactly. There should be 10.
Oh.
I'm going to dress you up as Will Smith and make you eat spaghetti. AI Astrimedes. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Have a great day.